Well, good afternoon, everyone. Tim Blotz here in the Fox 9 studios, coming to you live on Fox Local all afternoon. I'm joined here in our studios with meteorologist Sean Macaday, and we've got a number of crews out in the field as we now watch this major winter storm that's blowing through the Twin Cities. I want to take you out on the roads right now and show you what the conditions are like. We've got Ben in our storm tracker who's driving along 35 in Roseville right now, and you can see the snow accumulating on the roads. Traffic is moving along, but here's the issue. Some of the stopping abilities is just not good, and I witnessed that myself driving into the studios here this afternoon. In fact, people just not able to stop for stoplights and blowing through those intersections. So you got to be a little careful out there. And MnDOT is now advising people not to travel on state highways in the southern third of the state, all because of snow-covered roads and the blowing snow. And Sean is going to talk about here in a moment. Here is the 511 map right now from MnDOT. Every road that you see there in that pinkish purple, as our producer Lori Fisher now kind of zooms into it, every one of those roads that you see colored there means that they are snow covered and extremely slippery. Now, it's not that MnDOT is not out there working these roads. They are, but it's the nature of this storm and how quickly this snow fell this morning, and most importantly, how quickly we've had the flash freeze as the cold front moves through. We've dropped 10 degrees, if not more here, kind of pushing like 12 degrees now in just the past 2 hours. So we're having the flash freezing effect that's now taking place across the metro. Here's 35W southbound and Lexington Avenue in St. Paul, and you can see there's very little traffic out there. People home, and if they are, they're being very cautious about it as well. So that gives you an idea as to what we are seeing out there at the moment. Let's bring in Sean Macaday now, because Sean, you nailed this last night when we were on the air together on Fox 9, talking about how when this started, it would be fast and furious. It would be a wet, heavy snow, and then it would start to get cold and taper off. And that's exactly what we're seeing now, but we still have a lot ahead of us, don't we?
Yeah, you think about how long it is till midnight. You got another 10 hours coming our way of the second phase of the storm. First phase, as you were mentioning, Tim, is not supposed to last long. Most of it has already happened. It was a wet, dense, heavy snow that fell in the Twin Cities and the surrounding area earlier this morning. Kind of arrived 8, 9, 10, 11 a.m., depending on where you were. And then we started to transition really over the past hour and a half or so away from that dense, heavy, packing snowman snow to a fluff, a powder with colder temperatures and stronger winds. The winds just now really starting to pick up right here. And again, we were saying 19 degrees, that's what it is out the door right now in the Twin Cities. We were checking in this an hour ago, and it was 23. This is every 15 minutes we come back, it drops 2 degrees. This will continue for probably another few hours as we approach 10 degrees later on tonight. It is going to get cold fast. The slushy wet snow that fell in the morning, that turns to ice on those roadways. Then you're putting snow on top of that, and you're blowing some snow around, reducing visibility, making snow drifts. And what you end up with is a bit of a mess across the metro. That's why road conditions, we're going to go quickly back to this map, but I hope you can kind of see maybe where your town or city is here. Twin Cities, it's a mismatch. It is everywhere. The partially covered or completely covered plows are trying to keep up the main arteries, and they will do maybe a good job here and there over the next hour or so. But as the ice sets in so quickly, there's only so much salt that salting and brine can do to road conditions. Even the big roads, the main arteries, highways, 494, 94, 694. That can keep that at bay because it's getting so cold so fast, and also the wind could blow some of that salt off too. I would expect that road conditions continue to get worse. Once you get west of Belle Plaine or south, that's where that area we were talking about where they're not advising travel. The Department of Transportation, that begins. That's the south, really western reaches of the metro. And that's because wind gusts there are going to be a step above. Right now, current wind gusts, we're hitting 37 miles per hour in St. Paul. It's around 30 to 40 miles per hour across the metro and the general eastern part of the state. Now, we don't have the reading right here listed, but we are picking up some 45 plus mile per hour wind gusts in the southern part of the state, where that snow is really getting blown around. And we're also expecting these winds to get stronger. And I'll tell you why here coming up in a second. It has to do with our overall setup. Larger DOT road conditions map. Again, as we were mentioning, Lori and Tim were doing a great job showing us southwestern third of the state. They are saying do not travel. I shouldn't say they. They is the Department of Transportation, the state. They want these roads to not be busy, because if they have to do some rescues, or they don't want to rescue you, they don't want to have to deal with that, because it's going to take time. They can't guarantee that they're going to be able to get to you in a safe amount of time. Wind chills over the next couple of hours will drop sub-zero, and that's why you don't want to get stuck, especially in some of these open areas. Blizzard conditions, really messy roads, and you add some wind chill on top of that, and you've got a real mess on your hands. So don't get that mess on your hands. If you're anywhere south of I-94 from St. Cloud going south, really Hutchinson going south, or west of I-35, just listen to the Department of Transportation. Don't test it unless it is absolutely necessary. Twin Cities, we're not to that level. We might not get to that level, but don't let it sound like, oh, it's fine in the Twin Cities. Definitely isn't. Things are continuing to get worse right now. Here's the radar. You can see heaviest snow this morning fell around 9, 10, 11 a.m. That band was mean. It was coming down big time. I was stepping outside in uptown Minneapolis, and you could see very heavy snowfall rates. A lot of it was turning to slush, but all of this cold air that's going to start streaming in on the backside from the northwest, that's going to turn all the slush that fell earlier this morning and the melted snow we've had over the past couple of days into ice. And that is the key thing here. It goes ice, heavier snow, lighter snow that's blowing around. You got a triple layer cake, a triple layer threat, if you will, that is going to make things compound and with difficulty by the late afternoon and evening hours. So expect things to get worse. Even if all of this snow, and as it is expected, all this stuff to our northwest and west, it's lighter snowflakes, it's going to blow around. It's actually going to continue to make things worse. The reason the winds are just now getting stronger, we have to go all the way to Chicago. Ian Leonard, Chief Meteorologist Ian Leonard, is in Chicago right now. He's on a little family vacation, and he's enjoying himself. But he texted us earlier, the meteorologist, Fox 9, that he was getting some thunderstorms in Chicago this time of year, a little bit unusual, but that's because what we have here is a rapidly deepening area of lower pressure. That's going to swing up into really just straight up Lake Michigan, and as it does so, as it drops down, taking on some brief characteristics of a hurricane, it gets huge. And as it gets huge, the winds on the backside, they just ramp up. It's getting locked and loaded up here towards Fargo with a couple other snowflakes. And soon, this is all going to continue to dive down in towards the Twin Cities as that low continues to deepen. And it's just blowing everywhere. We're zooming in towards the Twin Cities right now, just a live look at the radar. A little bit heavier falling closer to Woodbury, the southeastern corner of the state. You get a little bit west, a tiny bit lighter. But again, once you get west, those winds are expected to be stronger throughout the day and getting stronger. And that's going to be blowing all of it around. That's why once you get west, you're in that blizzard warning. That's all the red counties right here. Places like Scott, Carver, Wright counties, St. Cloud included in that, Waconia included in that. And that's where you continue to get west. The winds are stronger. They're blowing it around, reducing visibility, creating snow drifts. It's not pretty. These are the areas where you could see some of that do not travel advisory from the state of Minnesota DOT expanded to. Now, Twin Cities winter storm warning, it's not to say it's okay. It's not okay. It's still going to be pretty icky on the roads later on today. And I would really just spend the day indoors. If I weren't working today, it would be a great day, cuddled up with a book and some hot chocolate or something. But instead, we have this. And here we are. Winter storm warnings out all the way from Duluth towards the Twin Cities. Blizzard warning has been expanded, if you haven't tuned in so far, from Rochester. That's a new addition as of about overnight, all the way up towards Fargo and Moorhead. and that continues into the southwestern part of the state. This is where it's the so-called blizzard alley. This is where we're expecting those winds gusting 45 to 55 miles per hour, blowing all the snow around, creating snow drifts, reducing visibility, making travel dangerous. And part of it is how cold it's going to be too, because again, if you get stuck in it, you don't only have so long until that wind chill really starts to eat away at you. Again, we've been taking a look at this Rushmore cam. This will be interesting to watch over the next couple of hours how this worsens. This is in southwestern Minnesota. Visibility's not great as you look towards the distance. You can see some streaming, blowing snow across the road right here. No snow drifts at this view, so that's a good look. We'll continue to see how that is. Snow drifts tend to not be evenly dispersed. Instead, they kind of come in clumps. That's just how topography works. And that's not good for driving because it means that you might accidentally run into one. That's going to be a particular concern in the southwestern part of the state, as the DOT has signaled. Looking at futurecast, snow continues to pull east throughout the day, but we continue to get snowflakes falling all the way through midnight, and then it finally starts to wrap up. But the winds are still there tomorrow morning. And by tomorrow morning, most of us are seeing about 5 to 8 inches on the ground of new snowflakes that have fallen. This is going to continue to cause problems through your Monday morning commute because the roads will still be icy. There's only so much the plows and the brine and the salt can do, and they will try to do it overnight, but the winds and the really cold temperatures really do complicate things. It makes salt less effective, so I would expect lingering impacts even through about lunchtime tomorrow. Tonight, again, we're getting most of the snow falling right now. Temperatures rapidly dropping into the night, into the upper single digits. You get a little bit snow later on tonight. That's to top things off with some powder. And then tomorrow it's blowing, it's icy. It's generally not looking too great. Temperatures out the door right now, they continue to fall. Eau Claire's just at freezing. That's where we were a couple of hours ago in the Twin Cities. Now it's 19. You follow it a couple hours further west. It's 9 degrees in Wilmer. That's what it's going to be closer to tonight in the Twin Cities. And the wind chills are going to approach 10 or 15 degrees below in the Twin Cities and pretty much everywhere across the state, including western Wisconsin. That is part of the reason we are saying you don't want to get stuck in this. This is really cold temperatures combined with the snow, combined with the ice, combined with the wind. This is a classic winter storm, and maybe put it in the back of your memory banks. This is what a decent winter storm will do. It will slow you down. It makes things dangerous on the roads. You don't want to get stuck in that. Wind chills continue to approach really around 10 below or so over the next couple of hours. Really by around 6 p.m. we're going to start really flirting with that. For now, not that cold. It continues to get colder. It also continues to get windier too, of course, as we were talking about wind chills. Look at these wind gusts at times up towards 50 miles per hour, particularly south of the Twin Cities and west of the Twin Cities. You'll get some 40+ mile per hour wind gusts in the Twin Cities that could really cause some more delays that we've been checking in with at MSP International. Everywhere else, it's going to continue to muck up those roads, and it's not going to be looking too pretty. Let's bring you here to the 7-day forecast. The rest of the week, Tim, is looking not too bad, actually. It's going to be cold, a return to winter, no doubt, as we roll into 2026. But look at that low temperature as we were kicking off 2026. It'll be maybe below zero. It'll be cold. This is ushering in classic Minnesota winter temperatures, but it will also finally start to get some sunshine. Still, though, today, a day best served indoors. I would not recommend traveling if you don't have to, as things are going to continue to pile up and get worse over the coming hours.
Yeah, this is just a classic Minnesota winter storm, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
All right, thanks, Sean. A lot of detail there for us.